Um, I know we've talked about it and what this means, and it was that kind of movie, not necessarily something that personally thinks it just stands alone. And it's like, oh my gosh, we need an Eternals too. But
Right.
what did you think about it besides that?
It's so much to say. Well, I'm gonna give her a rating.
Yeah, you gotta give your out of 5. Out of 5.
1 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
That's even harder.
It's out of
bro.
5.
Because honestly, if it's out of 5, I gotta get that joint a 2, man.
Okay.
I gotta give it a 2. I gotta give it a 2.
2.5 out of 5.
Ooh, he gave it the 0.5.
You got that 0.5.
I think it sets up. I think it sets up the rest of Marvel. I don't agree with them.
What?
100%.
What could it set up?
That's all it is. It's like when the Guardians of the Galaxy came in. They ain't set up anything. They just introduced a new super team.
They did.
And now they're gonna join the Avengers and then what they set up?
There were Infinity Stones in that movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So it's like,
Alright guys, you just saw a very short clip of our friends and us. You can hear my voice in the background. You see Sam in the shot. We had Matt and Mark. Those are our resident arguing nerd blurds. They're going to be probably with us at every premiere, and we're going to get them on the couch soon. If you want to see that full clip, it's going to be at the end. So, as you can see, we were talking about Eternals. Honestly, to make it very simple and sweet, Eternals was a very long but visually pleasing film that got stolen by a speedster and a comedian. Probably the best parts.
Okay.
But
Hey guys, welcome back to Small Couch Review. It's your boy Sam.
it's your boy Jovi.
As Jovi just said, today we are talking about the Eternals. It just came out this past weekend. Been pushed back a little bit because of COVID. But it's finally out in theaters. We saw it in IMAX. We went and supported a local theater, which we're not doing again because that theater sucks.
Review on that theater coming soon.
Yeah, that joint is terrible, man. But anyway, let's get right into it, Jovi. I know you started off. You liked some people.
There was 2 characters that I'm very fond of.
That you were fond of. I think okay, that's interesting. I have differing thoughts, but quick synopsis: Eternals. This is like a deep cut into comic book lore. Like the late great Jack Kirby created them a long time ago. This goes into things about power cosmic and it's not his fourth world, but like it goes into power cosmic that powers people like Galactus and Silver Surfer and all his heralds and all that. In the Eternals, they are as the name implies, they're a race of pretty much immortal beings. They've been around for a very long time. Thanos is actually one of them. And this movie deals with the Eternals of Earth. They came to Earth to protect, as the trailer said, they came here. There's another race called the Deviants that threatened life, and the Eternals were here to protect us. If you've read the comics, you know that it's a little bit more complicated than that. And the movie, to its credit, does go into a little bit, does tell you a little bit more about the Deviants and the Eternals and their whole relationship. So it's faithful to the comics in that respect. Unfaithful in other respects, but they were pretty
good
comics
job
accurate
of making it comic book accurate, but also making it movie like us. People that aren't comic book fans.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to understand.
Exactly. Like I said, it's a deep cut. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy too. So like, I mean, that movie barely tied into like other movies.
Yeah.
The first one at least.
Yeah.
This one is the same way. I'm pretty sure they're going to eventually have a big team up with the Eternals or whatever. But this movie, it's going to be focused on the Eternals. Don't expect like some huge cameos. But with that said, let's get right into it. Jovi, why don't you tell us what you liked, what you didn't like?
What I liked, I would say, acting wise, I got through it. I was very pleased For it to be a story that many people don't know about, I did my slight research because I'm not that deep into that part of the Marvel Universe. Because that is a huge part that is kind of to the side. And then so from my research, I'm like, cool, not saying they did characters justice because I feel like Eternals and from what I've seen and what I've read, they're so much more powerful but again, this is, like you're saying, this is the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to give us a taste. And it always feels like a test. Marvel does these test films.
I think at this point that they're pretty much printing money. I don't think they care.
I
think it's a test. They're just doing it. They're going to watch it. I mean, it's not going to be a bad... Well, hopefully
we'll see what the numbers are. So we are recording this very close to the actual release date.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the numbers are. But I'm like, we had a full theater. The attendants at the movie theater were surprised that we were out. Mm-hmm. Maybe because, again, nobody knows these characters.
Right.
But besides that, yes, fun. It was visually pleasing to the post-credit scene.
Let's say for the most part.
For the most part.
Okay. Yeah.
It was no, we're actually going to do a review on a movie that was actually more visual pleasing than this one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think that was my height of like good. It was funny, but it's a Marvel film. It's going to be funny.
Right.
But it was like very, 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 very. So this is a good and a bad. Very, very slow. Very slow in the beginning. Like actually giving us a story though. So I'm giving that a thumbs up. Like slow, but actually building characters, because in most films you're just like, who are these people? You're just giving them to me. I don't have any connection. The fact that they took so long to explain what was going on, I had a connection once the action really started. Once the story really started going. Once the comedy. Because midway, they were just like, okay, we're going to make this funny now. It's not as serious anymore. Mm-hmm. But it is a serious... The whole movie is a very serious thing.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah. So, bad... I think I will go back to saying maybe... some people say, like, Fantastic Frankie says she wanted to keep watching. I was good. I didn't want to keep watching. I didn't need any more at that moment. I thought it was a little too long.
Oh, okay. Could have been cut short.
It could have been some things. Good. Very, 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 very spread out cast. You had people of color. You had women. You had people of different sexual orientation. So those things were really awesome. You don't get to see that. And that's why I say test. Because they're like, hey, let's see if we can do this.
And you know what? It stuck out to me watching it, but I actually read it. This is the very first sex scene in any Marvel movie.
Yeah.
They had a sex scene between two characters.
Unnecessary.
It was totally unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
I don't know why they put it in there.
I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
I was just like, I don't care. You can show connections with another being without having sex.
I totally agree on that. I do agree on that.
So, like, that wasn't necessary for me. I knew they had love for each other. Them standing and holding each other's hand in that little cove.
And the way they were looking at each other and stuff. And the way they talked to each other. Yeah, so it was a little... I mean, I was watching...
Even in the posters and the previews, now after watching it, they're literally next to each other in everything.
Yeah, so
I didn't realize, but yes, there's a sex scene which was unnecessary in my opinion.
So I was a bit indifferent.
And we had kids behind us, and so it was weird for me. I was just like, I wonder like what they're perceiving this.
Well, I got you.
Yeah.
I was indifferent towards it until I started thinking about it more, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't care for it. Again, that's not a big deal. But yeah, and then again with characters that we don't know, there were some things like I feel like one of my favorite characters didn't get enough screen time.
Who was that?
I don't know what her name was. The
actress.
speedster.
Oh yeah. The speeding one.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, they were giving me a lot of Justice League vibes when I was watching it. You had the dude with the gadgets, you had the dude who was fast, you had the Superman character, you had the Wonder Woman character. I was like, wait a minute.
In the respects, the director said that he definitely based definitely based on that, like Justice League. Like that was a big, like, inspiration.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was surprised at how often they were mentioning DC characters in this movie too. Like they were, I was like, "Are you allowed to do that?"
No, it was like it was kind of like, "Yo, we can make a better Justice League film."
Right. I was like,
that's what it felt like. It was like, "Hey, we can make a better film, and we're gonna," but two different types of characters, y'all. Two different.
Okay,
types of
I'll talk on that in a little bit.
They're not on the same.
They're not. But
and this is not a bad or good thing. Like DC characters are DC characters, like amazing. These Eternals are the Eternals. We're just gonna get there on there. It's not a comparison, and I think that's what it felt like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite Eternal, least favorite Eternal. Before I jump in.
What's Angelina Jolie's character?
Athena.
They didn't. That wasn't enough for me.
Okay.
I really, and it's sad because I was like, yo, she probably would have been the dopest. So she gets she was weak, but she's not supposed to be weak. So it was like, I understand the dynamics that's showing that we all have, and she's not a human, but we all, every creature, every being has their weakness. Like, I get it. No, this is the first film. Okay. That would have been good for the second one.
Okay.
Like showing her kicking ass like this whole film, and then like she can't control herself.
Gotcha.
That would have been cool. And favorite is definitely Speedster. Or I forget his name. This is sad. I like go drawing blanks. The Indian guy that's comedian.
Oh, Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, he was fucking.
He was hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Go for it.
I am conflicted. So I have more things I disliked about this movie.
Yeah.
But it's strange because it's only because this movie literally could have been my second favorite MCU movie after Winter Soldier.
Wow.
Like, serious? Like, and if you don't know this, Winter Soldier is my second favorite movie, period. Not MCU or anything, just of anything. It is my second favorite movie. I think it is pretty close to perfect. So, amazing. This movie feels to me like it would have been better if it weren't a Marvel film. So, the Eternals, they've been around, like you've seen the trailers, they've been around for, 7,000 years. All of these myths and things...
There was some inconsistency on that. That's something I didn't like.
What do you mean?
They were saying different times and, like, doing speeches. We've been waiting for 7,000 years, and then, like, it would be a clip from 3,000 years ago. It's been 7,000 years. And it's
did they do that?
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
It was bothering me.
They first landed in 5,000 BC.
Yeah.
But point being, I liked that they are the inspiration for all these myths. Like, her name is Athena, the god of war. You had Festos, the gadget guy who was, Hephaestus. Icarus, his name is Icarus, and flew too close to the sun. All these myths, I could appreciate that. I was like, okay, that's cool that they're doing this. Their fight against the Deviants was just, that felt so secondary to me. Honestly, to be honest with you, without giving away too many spoilers, like I said, if you know the comics, you know what their relationship is. Their fight with the Deviants was actually not the it was in the movie, but I feel like it was only in the movie to provide action scenes. We got the action. You say the movie was slow. I actually appreciated it because this movie is basically asking a question. Yeah. And before I get to that, real quick, the cast, I thought they were all okay. No one really stood out to me, but no one was really, really bad to me either.
Nobody was bad. Yeah.
Like Jovi said, Kumail Nanjiani, he was hilarious. Him and his whole cameraman that he had following him everywhere. They
pulled another camera or somebody random following,
like
in Suicide Squad. Like, that's hilarious to me because they have no place.
Yeah, why are you here?
You have no place next to a super being.
Yeah, yeah, that was funny to me. But this movie did a really good job because it basically there's a conflict in this movie. Again, I'm not going to go into too much spoilers, but it's basically like, hey. Do you continue like the Lion King, like the circle of life? Yeah. The lions eat the antelopes, or however Mufasa explained it. I haven't seen this movie in forever, but he eat the antelopes. Then when they die, they fertilize the grass that the antelopes eat, or whatever. Do you continue this circle of life, knowing that someone has to die in order for more to live, or do you say, you know what, I don't think it's right that people have to die. Maybe we can find another way.
It's the same Thanos thing.
Well, Thanos was he was just a little crazy. He was like, hey, half of you have to go because there's not enough.
Yeah.
But he literally could have just made more. But that's a whole other topic we'll get into later. But in this movie, I thought it was a really good question because it's like, billions of lives could be made, but you'd have to or trillions of lives could be made at the sacrifice of billions. And there was conflict within the Eternals themselves about some of them who wanted to do it, some of them who were like, nah, I don't think it's okay. And I thought that was actually the best part of this movie, that little conflict. But because it's a Marvel movie, there were Marvelisms that had to be in it. You had to have the comedy undercut some serious moments.
Oh, yeah.
You had to have the CGI fights, which I'm sorry, Brody.
I liked compared to some things. I actually liked them, but like you said, they were there. It wasn't. I mean, I would say maybe 20 minutes of the movie, if that.
Yeah, except until the end. The end was the mandatory CGI fest.
Yeah.
But what I gotta say, sometimes the fight scenes. Yeah. I hate doing this, because I don't like mentioning the other studio when there's a movie, but we always do it. Yeah. But I kind of think DC did it better. I've been watching that show, Superman and Lois. It is no way. I do not even.
A TV show should look better than a movie.
It doesn't. I'm not saying it looks better, but the way they do the Superman characters, I think DC just does it a little bit better than they did it in this movie. Yeah.
The deviants themselves didn't look like something ridiculously.
Yeah, I mean, they were just they were just generic villains, honestly. Yeah. The actual that's what I'm saying. The actual conflict
from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, that's what they looked like.
Yeah.
They weren't like the Mandarin in Shang-Chi. No. Or even like the Vulture and Spider-Man. They weren't a villain you're gonna remember. Even like the ones you see in the previews, they were pretty much just throwaway for action scenes. The actual conflict of this movie, when you watch it, you'll see it's actually more captivating and more, I would say, interesting to me. But again, it was lost in, I guess, the Marvelness, for lack of a better word, and that was kind of disappointing to me. But yeah, I think that's basically my main. That's the thing that really bothered me about the movie. I was like, this is awesome. These guys are immortal. Yeah. They've been around forever. Yeah. They have this conflict. It's like, hey, we're old enough to be wiser, but should we use it was interesting. One thing also I didn't like, they oversold how much Salma Hayek was in this movie. And shit. They really oversold how much she was in this movie. She was a really good character, but in the comics I really like her.
Yeah. But she wasn't in the movie.
And also
I mean, what I honestly, what you could say, 10 minutes?
Maybe yeah. I'd say maybe 12 minutes of screen time. I'd have to measure it. But it was not a long time in this 2.5 hours.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna get a stopwatch, and I'm gonna, because she really wasn't in the film.
Yeah,
and she's very important.
I do want to say I did like them. Like Joey said, they did flash back to their time on Earth. 5,000 years, 3,000 years, 500 years ago. And seeing how they interacted with people then, and seeing how these humans changed them, that was pretty interesting to me. They showed the Hiroshima bombing, and one of them was like, "Wow, really? Yeah. This is what you guys have become." Yeah, it was
this is what you've done with my technology.
It was really good. But yeah, so enjoyable movie. Honestly, I'm saying this just because we're still kind of in a pandemic thing. This is not one I think was absolutely mandatory to see in IMAX in a theater. I will be able to watch it streaming and still enjoy it pretty well. Because it wasn't anything that was super visually stunning that you needed to see.
Unlike the next one that we were going to talk about.
Yeah. But I am excited about this.
I want to see it in D-Box, actually.
Yeah.
I want to experience, because there was certain things like the fights and how the camera angles and a lot of the spinny, the good old Marvel spinny, when everything is in this linear shot and moving around itself. Yeah. I feel like that would be fun in D-Box. Saw it in D-Box, and hopefully we can get his interview before we post. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But if not, we're gonna post it.
Yeah.
But anyway, one other thing, Celestials. They were introduced in this movie. The all-powerful creators of the universe. Pretty good. They actually set up what is going to be the inevitable sequel to Eternals in the end. So I like seeing that. I'm excited to see what they're going to do because, like I said at the beginning, Celestials, that means Galactus could come. And Galactus
I
is
thought
Silver
Galactus
Surfer.
was going to be the main villain for this whole next thing, and it just still...
Yeah, it's not.
yeah.
King the Conqueror.
Yeah, Kang's the... Well, we know that now.
Right.
But in the beginning, I was like, I thought Galactus was going to be...
Yeah. Devourer of Worlds. But this leads, like I said, this could lead to other things. Silver Surfer, which means Fantastic Four, which a whole bunch of stuff.
They own them now.
So yeah. But overall, Jovi, what would you give this movie?
So I was very torn between a 3 and a 3.5. I had originally said 3.5, but after sitting down, it's a 3 for me. And that's not again, I keep saying this, and it's like, why do I do this with Marvel movies? I think because I enjoy them so much. It's not that I didn't like the movie. It's just it was what it was. I don't know. I didn't leave out of the theater. It's like, oh my god,
yeah. So no, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think this was 3 for me.
Yeah.
It was a Marvel movie, meaning it's good. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
But there are certain it kept the status quo, I should say. There are certain movies, Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi, the Spider-Man with the Vulture, which I think was the first one, where I was like, okay, this rose above, or Avengers, obviously, Infinity War. I was like, this rose above the others. So, yeah, but this one, I think this is a 3 for me as well. So your small couch review is 3 TVs out of 5.
boom, boom, boom.
All right, guys. Thank you for sticking with us during this talk review. Did you watch it yet? Let us know what you thought. Let us know who your favorite Eternal was. Oh, by the way, mine was definitely the main character, Gemma-chan, her name is Cersei.
Yes.
She was my favorite Eternal. My least favorite was the little child, Sprite. Didn't really care for that character.
Sprite. The whole movie, I'm like, is she going to do something that we're all going to be like, damn, she's cool?
Yeah. And her power was a little weak compared to the others. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, thank you. And until next time, we out.
Deuces.
Anyway,
I'm
the
so
problem,
serious.
The problem is, this is if it's not this one, it's got to be the Hoffman. When it comes to getting them joints on early, because this joint gets movies on Wednesdays sometimes.
Yeah.
I came and saw James Bond on Wednesday. The Wednesday before that joint came out.
This nigga literally was on the phone for 10 minutes. Right next to us. He was just talking. Oh my god,
Yes.
I was
I can't get over the smacking. I heard people just smacking the whole
dude
movie.
that was to the left was snoring.
Yeah, he was snoring.
Pretty dope though. I was actually impressed.
CGI wise,
Yeah,
I was like,
until the troll. But
until the troll. God.
CGI was good though. I liked it.
I'm like,
I
this
liked
looks
it. I think
super
CGI was better than Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Well, Shang-Chi's,
It wasn't
they
as
created a
CGI
whole
driven.
world, and that whole world that they created in was like
That was
super-
That dragon was that was pretty good.
It was pretty
Right.
sick.
And it was like, it looked like they was like, shit, we need a good ending.
My bad. I didn't interrupt your video.
Where's intern John? All right, Matt. This is a longer video than it's just us talking about how horrible. But no. I know we've talked about it and what this means. And it was that kind of movie. Not necessarily something that personally thinks it just stands alone. And it's like, oh my gosh, we need an Eternals 2. But
Right.
what did you think about it besides that?
It's so much to say. Well, I'm gonna give her a rating.
Yeah, no. You gotta give your
from
out of
1 to
5.
10?
Nah, out of 5.
1 out of 5?
Five
That's
out
even
of
harder.
5.
That's even harder.
It's out of 5.
Because honestly, if it's out of 5, I gotta get that joint a 2, man.
Okay.
I gotta give it a 2. I gotta give it a 2. I don't really see. I didn't leave with the feeling of, oh, that was absolutely essential to the forward movement of this next phase. I don't see the forward progression of the phase. I thought that they were going to try to tie in the whole idea of deviance. We've seen deviance and that term thrown around, and then it's like, is a deviant close to a variant? They're talking about the different universes and all of this different stuff. So I was like waiting for some sort of tie-in, and I didn't get any tie-in until the very end. And then it was like, okay, well, we kind of knew that was going to happen eventually, not knowing that it was going to happen here, but it didn't do anything for this movie specifically. I still don't. It's like I'm leaving with more questions about. They didn't give you no new information. There's no new information for this next phase at all. They just kind of made the movie to make the movie. Unless they're going to talk about this in future movies.
I felt like that from the day we got the first trailer.
Well, you knew it wasn't going to tie in. The only thing that got me with this is just every time I was thinking about, like, the Celestial. He's been doing this for millions of years or whatever. He's going to do it again. I don't know why I can't help it, but ever since I saw Loki, all I'm thinking is, none of this shit really matters. Because Kang is going to come and all of it's going to be erased, or he's just stronger than what we're looking at now. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of it matters, bro.
They should have, like...
He's not stronger than Kang, so I don't know, man.
There has to have been some sort of thing to, like, tie it in. They have to mention something to make us feel like, oh, snap, like, maybe this has to do with... Hey, we got none of that.
Yeah.
Mark?
2.5 out of 5.
Ooh, he gave it the point.
We got that 0.5.
I think it sets up the rest of Marvel. I don't agree with them.
What?
100%.
What could it set up?
It just makes everything much bigger, much greater. Now you have the option of having a thing in the ocean. Don't give anything away.
Sleeping Celestial.
A sleeping
From
Celestial
the comics.
in the ocean.
What does that do? I don't get.
It just
what-
creates possibilities. It opens things up. So now we might hear things of, oh yeah, in another movie we might hear something about a Celestial. Now the Celestials, I think, can come into the
They just made
cinematic
a
to the
new
rest of the
super team,
MCU.
bro. That's all they did. It's like when the Guardians of the Galaxy came in. They ain't set up anything. They just introduced a new super team.
They did.
And now they're
They
going to
did,
join the
they
Avengers.
did.
And what
No,
they set up?
did. There were Infinity Stones in that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true.
So it's like,
okay.
you know,
But this sets up something that's bigger than the Infinity Stones. Now you have Celestials. Now you have like this grand plan, a grand scheme of how everything works.
It don't matter.
It's-
Kang is
that's
going
what
to
I'm
erase
saying.
it.
Like, if you think about
But does Kang? Does his ability to manipulate time go beyond
Yes.
that?
It has to.
But Celestials create the concept of all this.
But he literally
And that's something that they could've
created a
mentioned.
universe, right? I mean, like,
He created an alternate reality. But,
yes.
but we
And he
know-
controls everything that happens.
But we know the Celestials thrive on that. The more people, the more realities, the more Celestials that are born, the more opportunities they have. All this, I think all this will play off in the long run.
I don't see. But I'm with. I don't see this being bigger than anything Kang is about to do.
Exactly.
I just don't see it. being
Well,
bigger.
of course it's not, because Kang is the
All they do is create planets. That's it.
They create plans, but they also create. They're just pure power, and their job is like.
So what? Like we only deal with Earth. Like this Earth is our story.
It made
No,
they made it even with this joint, like they made Earth seem so like it was so special.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's going on here?
Because
Billions of planets.
that's the point of every comic book.
Yeah.
Marvel and DC, Earth is always the special
But that's
one.
what I'm saying. Now, if the Celestial that was supposed to come out of Earth is now stone, so that's a dead mission. The only thing that they're worried about is him coming back to judge whether or not humans are worth it.